yeah, we are back, ladies and gentlemen. It is the Hard Hitting Wrestling Show, sponsored by the CMG Central. We are located everywhere on YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, yes, Instagram, and also if you guys don't see us on video, you could also listen to your favorite podcast platform, all the audio like Spotify, Google, and Amazon. Yes, indeed. I am Obi-Wan with Heck Love, and Frank will join us later momentarily. But ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, yo, this is it. The Hard Hitting Wrestling Show is back, and we back better than ever, baby.
Yes,
What's
sir.
up?
Man,
And before I know, Hector, I know you're ready, but I have to send a special shout out to my boy Heck Love because today, not only is the debut, but today is his birthday.
yes,
So
sir.
he did make a request, and here I am. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Hector. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, brother.
I appreciate it. See, that's all I ask for. I don't ask for much in life. I don't ask for much in a year. Just that one thing for my brother.
All right, you get some birthday shout outs right here. All right. Alexa, she says happy birthday. Oh, Michael Campbell says very impressive. Oh boy. I might have to go to that show that's on NBC. What's the name of that show? America's Got Talent.
Yeah, there you go. For real.
Oh,
but, the Masked Singer. Hey. Put on the mask for the Masked Singer.
Nah, they don't want to know who I am. But hey, listen, there's plenty of wrestling going on. But before we get started, on a serious note, I want to send out my condolence to the Bristol Police Department. Of course, if you guys didn't know, this past week they lost 2 police officers in a most tragic way. Not to go in depth, but my prayers are out there to the families, the police department, the state, and everyone affected by this news. Our condolences as always, and their funeral is set for Friday at East Hartford, Connecticut. It might be televised for the fallen officers. So once again, I'm gonna take a moment to recognize them, and again, this is a tragedy that was very shocking. Not only that hit close to home, close to where I am, but I know it affected everyone around the globe. All right. So WWE, well, I mean, the last time we broadcast it was back in after SummerSlam. We took a break. We're back again, this time to road to WrestleMania. But before we get to WrestleMania, our first stop is Crown Jewel. And there's so much that's happened with Vince McMahon is gone. Okay. As a matter of fact, SummerSlam started with Triple H, all right, being the producer. And then like everything started falling into place. Like I'm reliving NXT all over again.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is now finally what we've been looking for a long time. An NXT final takeover. You know, these guys and these men and women who put in all the effort, the time, the sweat and blood is finally getting their recognition. They're finally moving up, you know, and finally we're going to see them what they could do at the next level, you know, whether they can, you know, fail or they succeed, you know, but at least they're getting a shot at it. So, and, you know, what I was mentioning earlier, it was like, I felt like our roster is full now all of a sudden. You know, it doesn't feel so empty and voided. Like we're trying to force matches. We're trying to create, you know, rivals on the fly here. Now we can actually got a multitude of things that we can put possibilities together. And this is
absolutely awesome. Yes. And there's plenty of room for a lot of superstars to be on television. And you don't have to see them go every week. Maybe certain superstars, like you got to see Seth freaking Rollins.
Yes.
You know, he's the main attraction. You want to see Riddle, but there are times where they don't overload. Like you see him in the beginning, you see a little bit in the middle, and then you have the ending, right? There are
Mhm.
plenty of superstars to go to. On the other hand, another brand that's not looking so good right now is AEW, because all you hear is all these backstage problems, almost similar to like WCW. Okay, not saying that they're gonna go bankrupt and someone's gonna buy them out, but this is the wrestling that was supposed to supersede WWE, and it's not happening. And I didn't have any doubts about it because I'm still a dedicated WWE fan. But for all these things about AEW this, AEW that, the only thing I like about AEW is they allow their superstars to branch off to different wrestling promotions. And that's why I'm honored to see these wrestlers come here in the New England area. But other than that, man, the storylines and everything that's built up, you want to see Raw now. You want to see SmackDown. You're anticipating what could happen next. And that's what you want, because at the end of the day, this is a soap opera, right?
Yeah. Hmm.
And it's not about men soap opera. Now it's both men and women watching
Yeah.
wrestling and everything else. So that fan base is increasing. I can't wait. But in one superstar that I want to see, I'm wishing to see this happen. Now there's more than one superstars, but this particular one, he's in the independent, and I want to send out to my congratulations to Trayvon Jordan, who last Saturday became the Northeast Wrestling Champion. Congratulations, Trayvon Jordan. He was on our show on our last season. So, if in case you missed it, he was very informative, very outgoing. You go on our YouTube channel, look for Trayvon Jordan on the HHW show, and listen to that interview, because all that he said, he had preached after he won the title. And dude, it couldn't go to someone more special than Trayvon Jordan himself. So congratulations.
Yes, it was an honor speaking with him. And now he's stepping it up to another level than just a tag team champion. He's proved that he could do it on the singles level. So that's big props to him, and shout out to him and his family. And yeah, may he have a good, successful championship run.
Oh man, I hope so too, man. Hey, he defeated Dan Moff, who was the previous champion, and he held the title for 990 days. He comes second behind the number one person, which was Brian Anthony, who held it for approximately 1,200 days. So those are a lot of days,
Yeah,
okay? That you gotta like to defeat the man. What it was Rick Flair, to beat the man? You gotta what?
be the man.
Be
Be
the
the
man,
man.
right?
Be
Yeah,
the
be the
man. You
man.
got
You
to be
got
the
to,
man.
you got to be the man. There you go. I'm all messed
Yeah,
up.
yeah.
But for him to do that, he got a lot going on. He is a two belt champ, because he's also a tag team champion, and they got their hands full coming up next month. But stay tuned for that. Other champions that are still champion that is listed as number one in the HHW show is no other than Bianca Belair, who is the Raw Women's Champion. She has proven to be a fighting champion every week, every pay-per-view.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think she deserves that number one spot. She has elevated herself above all champions in the WWE right now, whether it's male or female. You said it. She's a fighting champion. She's going out there day in and day out, and she proves that, hey, even if she takes that licking, she's still going to keep on ticking, because at the end of the day, she's still the champ.
Oh man, I love the rhymes you got there. All right, the bloodline minus Seth Rollins. He is the United States champion. Shockingly, that happened. Bianca Belair, we just talked about her. But the Usos, Roman Reigns, the brother Solo, the bloodline, and the most comical one of them all is the honorary Us.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sami Zayn. I mean, I don't know how these guys could remain so serious, especially Jey Uso. I don't know how much discipline you have to stay serious and stay in that mode, having him around, because that dude is funny.
Yeah, he is.
He is more entertaining. I think being with the bloodline made him stand out even more of how comical he could be.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, he's the one that's keeping the bloodline afloat as far as main attraction. Now, when people see the bloodline, they want to see what Sami Zayn's going to do, what he's going to say, what he's all about, and could Sami Zayn be the one to dismantle the bloodline?
Well, we said that before, before we left the show, we had thought that Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens were going to be tag teams and somehow dethrone the Usos, leaving Roman Reigns hanging. But then here comes Uso's little brother. I
So
don't
we'll
see it
see.
happening, man. I don't see it. It's something big has to clash and put together. But is the New Day coming back? Is the Viking Raiders, which had a new promo on Monday Night Raw with a special female? Okay, so there's a woman involved along with the Viking Raiders. Can that happen? And then, of
Yeah.
course, you have the Bray Wyatt's back, as you can
Mhm.
see him in the background. Could he have something to do on what's going on in the near future? All right. But Roman Reigns versus Logan Paul for the undisputed title, which I know you're shaking your head no, like why? But I'm gonna say this: this guy's the biggest YouTuber. Why not being over there in Saudi Arabia? You're getting paid. He is known over there, and it's all about the money when it comes to this matchup.
Yeah, I just see it as Logan Paul is just a filler right now because they ain't got nothing else for Roman Reigns. I mean, this is just ridiculous. To me, it's just he's being privileged and just giving what he wants. But at the end of the day, he's going to fail like everybody else has. So I think it's just a waste of time. I think it's a joke. And I'm going to laugh at Logan Paul when he loses. Not if, but when he loses. I'm sorry, but it's just a
I
joke.
mean, I think he may look good, but he ain't going to win.
No.
But Alex Ortiz says, I know he hasn't been back long, but Braun needs to be a champ, long overdue. I think they got other plans for Braun Strowman. I
Yeah.
mean, if he was already going to be a champion, he would have already placed himself in some type of storyline. But let's not forget that there's one other person that's next in line, and it's going to happen. But TikTok, it's going to happen. Okay. TikTok. Who am I talking about?
Talking about the man that finally got his identity back that was taken away from him, Karrion Kross. I mean,
Yes, Karen Cross set the timer on Roman Reigns.
yeah.
No one's talking about it because of Drew McIntyre and their rivalry. But once that it's over, you can say bye-bye to Roman Reigns. You can say bye-bye to the bloodline because he can single-handedly take down the bloodline. Now,
You know,
everyone's going to say that I'm crazy when I'm talking about it. But look what he did in NXT. Donovan Dijakovic, Keith Lee, amongst other superstars. Tommaso Ciampa was the very first victim. Okay.
Yeah.
He wiped the floor on NXT. And of course, Vince McMahon kind of ruined his gimmick.
Yeah.
But Triple H is producing. We got it. It's going to happen.
Yeah, I like it. I mean, I'm glad that we got this Karrion Kross back. And we have to think about it as a fan perspective, who do we want next to be representing, the blue brand, because I don't see Karrion Kross holding both belts for long if he does win this. So,
No.
I mean, so if you're going to put him on the blue brand as your top choice, we got to make him out to be what he was at NXT, and I like it that Triple H is doing that. Seriously, I mean, he may have a little different way of doing it, if he, cheats here and there. But what heel doesn't do that? You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
we just got everything, but we just see the only difference we see is that he has hair instead of being bald like he was back then. But never know, he might shave it off.
He might shave it off. That's right. But hey, we talked about Bianca Belair being our number one. What you want going on now? My question to you is: she already beat Bayley in the ladder match at Extreme Rules, but do you still see Bayley losing the title? I'm sorry, Bianca Belair losing the title, Bayley.
I do, because Bayley is not going to give up and stay empty-handed here. She is the leader of this group. Her girls got titles. She's not going to walk around without a title. So she's going to do I hate to say it, but Bianca Belair is outmatched here. She's outnumbered. And her time is coming up eventually, because I don't see anybody truly backing up Bianca Belair 24/7 like what Bayley has. I mean,
Well, they've been taking out the competition with Damage Control.
Yeah.
And if should this match be at Crown Jewels, I do see Bayley, who already has experience in wrestling in Crown Jewel. I can see her taking the title there.
Yeah. It's not going to be clean, but she's going to win it, and it's not going to be Belair's fault.
The Intercontinental Champion Gunther. You got the Imperium back. Best rival that I've seen so far between him and Sheamus. I want to see that match again. It is well deserved. However, the number one contender for the Intercontinental Championship is Rey Mysterio. We're going to talk about him in our takeaway because that is our main focus between him and Dominic. But I do see that Gunther and Sheamus may unite again and battle again.
I see it too. I mean, it kind of bothered me a little bit that they're making Sheamus look a little weak against Gunther, but I could maybe understand why. It just seems like there's some kind of fear in Sheamus's eyes, and that's not the brute that I know. You know what I'm saying? And I know I can understand that they want to elevate Gunther to another level, but you know, Sheamus deserves this. He's just that close of becoming a Grand Slam champion. I mean, we got to give it to him. We got to let him have it. He deserves it.
Well, he deserves plus a lot more because look, Elias, Riddle, and Ali, they're back in the picture to chase for the United States Championship. But man, Ali's finally got a place to fit in, okay? And he came out there in the ring and just attacking Seth freaking Rollins, and I love it. I love where this storyline is headed. Expect for these four men to have a fatal four-way at Crown Jewels.
Yeah, you know, you just can't sit back and just let everybody else, you know, hog up the spotlight. If you want something that bad, you got to step up and do it, and that's what Ali's doing, you know. I'm glad to see that Elias is back because his brother Ezekiel couldn't do the job. So, yeah, you know, we're going to start walking with Elias again. And
there's no such thing as Ezekiel. There's no such thing as Ezekiel.
And me personally, I'm just getting tired of Riddle. I'm just getting bored of Riddle. Seriously, I am.
All right, I think there's something wrong with our audio. Let's see. Jared Hogan, I appreciate it. All right, I think he's a Dallas Cowboys fan over there.
Yeah, yes, he is. Yes, he is.
Yes.
But he's one of the good ones. He's one of the good ones.
He's one of the good ones.
Yes, he is.
All right,
I can vouch for that.
All right, and then we got the SmackDown Women's Champion Ronda Rousey. Okay, no, I love this part. What I went was Liv Morgan because I didn't see the champion out of her, and the way she won, and then the way she redeemed herself. I didn't feel. I didn't get the vibe of her being a champion.
I understand. I agree with that. You know,
we need somebody else to have a great chemistry with Ronda Rousey.
Yeah, but I want to see a Ronda Rousey that could be vulnerable. I mean, I don't need this whole gimmick that, oh, I can't be beat. You know what I'm saying? If you beat me, it's because you cheated. Oh, come on, man. This is WWE. This is wrestling. This is not the UFC. Okay, they need to do something. They need to do something better with Ronda Rousey. I mean, until I see that, I'm not a fan of Ronda Rousey. I'll shut that TV off or flip the station to something else. I'd rather watch reruns of a Netflix show than keep up with Ronda Rousey right now.
All right, Bray Wyatt is back, and it had the crowd going, but I still feel like Cody Rhodes had a bigger pop than Bray Wyatt, but only because one, it was at WrestleMania. He had a bigger crowd. It's in the stadium, so I know there's been questions out there who had the better than what. It could have been as equal as Cody Rhodes if this would have happened at WrestleMania. But I'm glad that he's back. I just want to know who's his crew. Who are we identifying here? Is Bo Dallas coming back? Okay. Is Eric Redbard coming back? Okay. There's other superstars that's being speculated that will return to beef up the Wyatt Six. We'll see if that is the angle or is Bray Wyatt going to be just going solo. I'm not paying attention to the rumors. I'm sticking to what's going on and being broadcasted on TV. And again, like listen to all those noise outside of wrestling kind of just disrupts the angle like, oh my God, this is going to happen or not. Let's just enjoy the storyline and everything else. But I'm glad he's back, as well as Corbin. Happy Corbin is now on Raw. Okay. We have new tag teams that return. Anderson and was it that's Carl Anderson, right? And Gallo, right? I'm glad that they're back with AJ Styles. That's gonna be awesome to see them against Judgment Day. I think that's Kathy Kelly return as a reporter. So that's good. Also, Johnny Gargano. Like I was surprised he came back, and Candice LeRae. These two are married couples, and they had their child not so long ago.
Yep.
So congratulations to them. But I'm glad that they're back. And then on SmackDown, Rey Mysterio moves to SmackDown, and once again, that's our takeaway between him and Dominic Mysterio. But La Fantasma, right, and my girl, she's back.
Mm,
She's
yeah.
back managing. Okay, I love
Awesome.
this angle.
Yeah.
I
I
love
mean,
it.
there's so many possibilities with all these different angles, and that gives us a lot more to talk about and debate about. I loving it, and so we could just see. Now we can actually figure out who going to be heel, who's going to be face, who's going to be the in between. This
Mm-hmm.
is great. This is a good stuff. We got a lot of storylines here.
All right. In the injury list, we have the Street Profits, Montez Ford, Cody Rhodes, and Big E. We noticed that Big E did hurt himself in SmackDown when he landed on his head. That resulted in his neck being broken. No news on that. I know he doesn't have a cast, but the last thing I heard was potentially maybe retirement. I don't know. I hope not. I hope that he is cured and safe recovery, and that he comes back because the New Day misses him. He's the fire of the New Day.
Yes, he is. But we have to take in consideration that your personal health is first. Because what happens if he does re-injure that? And we've seen a lot of that in wrestling. With a lot of past superstars, and I would hate to see his career get tarnished because of that. So if he does
Right,
retire, I will respect that. He's done a lot. And being being a champion at different levels is he's been successful. And
right.
I respect that. You know, I would just
Cody
hate.
Rhodes and Montez Ford should be back by the Royal Rumble.
Hmm.
I'm hoping. I know Montez Ford had a leg injury that was officially. I mean, there was one storyline where they showed his he had a boot in his foot. So I guess that was a true story. And of course, we all know what happened to Cody Rhodes,
Yep.
the way he defeated Seth freaking Rollins, and the way he left the show after Rollins was able to put more damage on his arm. However, imagine that he comes back and then takes the title away from Seth freaking Rollins.
That could be possible.
Man,
There's no love lost there. That rival was not even done yet.
no, none at all. So, and then the other rivalry that's not done with is in Crown Jewel is going to happen is Brock Lesnar versus Bobby Lashley, 1-on-1. Settle this scores once and for all. All right, to see who is the better person. Um, Again, this was surprising to me, really, to have these two go at it, and the way that the belt landed on Seth Rollins' waist. I mean, to tell you the truth, man, it doesn't take maybe 3 or 4 months for a United States champion to change hands. It doesn't last long. It
Yeah.
actually helps you get back to the world championship picture.
Yeah. It does. And
So,
I like to see what's going on with these two, who the fans are going to lean to more.
right. So more to follow of all this. Once again, like we're just trying to catch up with everything. But the one major storyline that we want to discuss is Rey Mysterio and Dominic Mysterio. All right. These two created a big rivalry within the family. All right. Dominic went to Judgment Day. Rey Mysterio went to SmackDown. So we got that and much, much more. So stay tuned because that is our takeaway. All right. So, not so long ago, Dominic Mysterio and Rey Mysterio were tag teams. They were once tag team champions. By then, things were going so well. However, things started to fall apart when the Judgment Day took over. A lot of questions as to what would Dominic will do. Would he stay with his dad and everything else? And all of a sudden, the least that we expected came at Extreme Rules, where Dominic, if I'm not mistaken, was Extreme Rules, right? Or was it before that?
I think it was Extreme Rose.
Was it where they split up with his dad and Edge? Right. There
Yeah.
was Edge, but
Extreme Rules.
yeah. So they split up and everything else, and Rey Mysterio is trying to do his best, but he refuses to fight his son. And then in that case, he ends up going to SmackDown. He wanted to quit, but Triple H was like, "Nah, don't do it." And with Karrion Cross out of the picture for the Intercontinental Championship, there goes Rey Mysterio put in there, and now he's the number one contender. Now Monday Night Raw, Dominic is bragging very hard that dissing his dad, and because he won't fight him or be man enough to face him, he had to run away to SmackDown. And this is where we are right now. And I know, Frank, welcome back to the show. I
Some
know you got
people,
your dogs barking back there in the background. I know.
dude, I got the dog barking. I got people here at my house when they see me later on that I'm on the show, they are gonna kick my butt. You know what? It is what it is.
Yeah. But you have some strong insight when it comes to the father-son relationship. So you were dying to get on the show just to talk about that. So share your thoughts on this Rey Mysterio and Dominic.
Look, you know what? It's father and son, man. That fathers and sons are gonna disagree, of course, always. But as I started seeing this whole angle develop, I'm like, no, this can't be this way. You cannot have your son beat the crap out of you. And the father's like, Ray's like, no, I don't want to fight him. And you know what? And Ray, in a sense, is right. No, your father and son, you don't fight like this. It's, you're going to disagree. But there's that line of respect, that line of honor, of what you have your dad. And, I just, I can't fathom that. And I was hoping for this storyline not to happen, not to come out, and I'm glad that Ray left to Raw because it ends that storyline. Because it's just you don't do that. It's a son doesn't lay his hands on his father if for no reason. Because at the end of the day, he's going to take care of him later on in life. That's what happens with kids and parents. You don't do that. It hit home to me because I've had issues with my son, but it was never where we went at it in blows. Sometimes it felt like it was going to get there, but it never got there. And just in this aspect, you can't.
Oh, I hear you, and I totally understand. But let's look at it at two different angles. Okay, imagine us being little, growing up. Okay, and your father's always around you, always critiquing you, always trying to make you a better person, but don't know how, but only knows one way. And you get frustrated, right? Because you want to get out there in the world, you want to do things and everything else. Not listen to dad all the time, always questioning your moves and stuff like that. There's a time when you just sick of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes you just need that extra encouragement. And there comes Judgment Day coming in, putting words in his ears and stuff like that, lingering around. And look what happened. Was not to say, I mean, we could relate that to today, right? Like, hey, listen to your parents, listen to your folks. You lecture, yo, they know what's right for you. Then they do want to disagree because they want to listen to their friends. They want to listen to other people instead of their own home. Hector, you want to chime in on that one?
I look. We could take a lot of different angles from this, and we got to understand. We really know the relationship between Rey Mysterio and his son Dominic here. Okay, yeah, we can get all the good advice that we can from our fathers, and then growing up, we start listening to the world and being influenced by other people, and now we don't take that advice that was taught at home, and we try to learn on our own. And then when we mess up, well, okay, I was wrong. But then you have those toxic relationships where your father is not teaching you correctly, right? And now you have to try to find that role model in your life to help teach you. Whether it's a good influence or a bad influence, you don't know the difference because all you know is that bad. And I think, maybe Dominic is in that position. You know, he thinks he's getting good advice right now from Judgment Day, but is it really good advice? But then again, we cannot just blame everything on Dominic. Where's the blame on Ray on this situation? Was he trying to hog up the spotlight? You know what I'm saying? Because I dealt with that in a small sense one time. And I'll briefly tell you real quick, my dad once had a softball team where he created and he had me on that team. But then when I was on that team, I didn't feel like I was part of that team, you see, and I felt like I was an outcast. So I left and went somewhere else where I felt like I was part of a family in a team, you see. And then it just kind of went back and forth until we actually faced off each other, So, I can understand, there may be something there that Dominic just pushes away. But now I feel like, okay, now Dominic may be taking this too far. You see what I'm saying? And now as a father, do you put your hands on your son after he's provoking you? And if you do, is it right? I mean, so I mean, this is really a tough thing. And is Ray really right for running? You know, I don't think, to me personally, he was scared. He was just trying to remove himself from a situation that he don't want to be part of. I personally
Maybe.
don't, and I personally don't have no son, so I don't know. But I feel like if I did have a son, I would not want to put my hands on him regardless. You know what I'm saying? Because that's my blood. I created him. I don't want to put my hands on him, no matter how much he's provoking me to put my hands on him.
I could tell you that the one thing, you know, I had issues with my dad growing up. My dad was always around or whatnot, but you know what? I was a teenager. I could tell you that I never put my hands on my dad. But now I guarantee you that if I would have, my dad would have beat the crap out of me.
But what?
Okay.
But the
No,
situation.
But
I don't mean to laugh like that. I mean,
no, no,
like,
no, no, no.
because
But
this just goes back to the comment that Alexis Ortiz was saying
right.
was um definitely. Oh, hold on for a second. I need to find the right one. Oh man, now I lost it here. Okay, never mind. We'll
Here,
get
I
back to
found it.
his
Here, right
comment.
here, this one. This comment.
Right.
Ray
So
just
Ray just needed to beat him down. You know, the Spanish pops don't play. And you're right, we don't play. And if you look at it, Dominic did slap Ray in the face, not once,
Okay.
a couple of more times, you know?
Okay.
So right there is like, okay, you just crossed the line. Now I'm gonna whip your ass. Now,
Mm.
I don't know. Like,
I
like I could say what I want to say, but there are parents that might handle things differently. You see what I'm saying? Does everything have to be result into violence? And that's what's wrong in today's world right now in this society. That everything is violence. Everyone's sensitive. Everybody, you got to be careful what's due because tragedy might strike. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I understand, and I see it like, I think Rake is sending a message to Dominic saying, "Look, I'm trying to be an example to you because you're not a father, and one day you may be a father. And what if you have that son? What are you going to do when your son slaps you in the face? Are you going to do what I did when you did it to me, or are you going to strike back?" So I think Ray is doing the right thing, and to me he's not showing fear. He's just trying to remove himself from a situation, and it's good that he has somebody like Triple H to talk to. He
Booyaka.
has a boss, a supervisor that says, "Look, we can try to resolve this a different way."
look. I'm going to tell you like this. Going back to what you're saying a second ago, Hector. When and I know it's happened to me, and I'm going to take a guess that it probably happened to you guys too. As we're growing up, before we have kids, we're loose, wild, doing whatever the hell we want, right? Our parents or our fathers are always in our ear. Hey, gotta do this like this. Hey, do this. Hey, do that. Hey, do this, right? You don't realize it, but once you have kids, whether you have a boy, whether you have a girl, you find yourself telling your kids the same stuff that your dad would tell you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So what happens is Dom has no kids yet. Later on, it's going to happen. Because I can tell you, with my son, okay, he's his girl's about to have a baby. Is gonna have a baby in January. So I always tell him, you're gonna remember me when your baby comes out. You're gonna remember everything I've ever told you. It's gonna come out because you're gonna do it. You can't help it.
It's a
And
cycle.
right, and he looks at
No,
me and he's like, "Nah." I'm like, "All right, watch." And like I tell him, everything I've ever told you, what's happened? Was I right or was I wrong? And he's like, "You're right." I said, "Okay, enough said."
I mean, I think we have to get down to the root of what is pushing Dominic to do this. Is it something that Ray did? Is it Ray taking over the spotlight over his son? He's not allowing his son to shine, and he's just snapped. You see what I'm saying? I mean, we have to find out what the root of this whole situation is and why Dominic is doing what he's doing, and he's listening to the wrong people. You
well,
know,
you do know that the Judgment Day has their belief. The way they got rid of Edge, right? Like you're holding us back. We need to get what is ours. Instead of earning it, they just want to take it. They just want to be put in that spotlight, win it, and then walk away. And that's
Mhm.
not how you run things in life. That's not how you do things in business. You have to earn your spot to get what you deserve. Okay. You want that championship, you want that stardom, you got to scratch, you got to crawl, you got to walk, and then you run with it. Okay. And that's something that Judgment Day doesn't believe in. And then when you put words or, say things to Dominic and then you persuade him, you know, that right there is like, you know what? I'm just gonna instead of just walking away and say, Dad, I'm just gonna test the waters here. But no, he handled things differently, you know. And the first thing he did was kick Edge in the nuts, right? And then whatever else happened after that, I mean, like it was a debacle. All right. So, anyways,
I mean, I feel that maybe Ray could have been more aggressive, a little more aggressive, you know, with his son and saying, look, this needs to stop. You see what I'm saying? You don't understand the road that you're trying to take here. And I think maybe that could be a downfall for Ray that he didn't do that. And now it's coming
right,
back to bite him. And now he's having to learn a lesson himself. So I think in this whole situation, both Ray and Dominic are learning lessons the hard way, and
right.
maybe, and again, I don't feel like Ray's running away from the problem. He just of trying to avoid from anything bad happening, to his son.
Well, I know
Because
Frank
because
has to
right
go
now,
out right now, so thank you, Ray, Frank, for being on. We'll catch you next week. Uh,
Definitely.
But Hector, man, look at this picture. Now you see all that whispers and everything, all that fee that he is receiving. You know, again, it's like we said, who are you gonna listen to the most? Your parents that already had that experience, or somebody else that you technically don't even know. You know what I mean?
well, see, that's the thing. As kids, we have no other choice but to listen to our parents. But as we get older and we
Hmm.
become adults, then
Hmm.
we start challenging the authority and the knowledge that our parents has given us, or the knowledge and the authority that they have. We start challenging it because we want to start testing the water, and we start listening to other people. The world has a way of influencing us to where we go away from what we've already been taught. You
Hmm.
see, and that's the problem I think we're dealing with here. And Dominic thinks he's bigger, too big for his britches, and thinks that he can get his dad to do something that his dad is definitely against, you know. And like I said, I don't have no boys, no sons, so I don't really know. But I just feel like there's a pushing point because look, I'm not saying that everything was fine and dandy in my household growing up. Okay, my dad had his issues, and there's been times in his life where he tried to attack me. But out of respect, I try to show him that, look, I'm gonna tell you what you have taught me. You see what I'm saying? Try to flip it back on him so it'd be better for the both of us because he knew how big I am, how strong I was getting, and things could turn out whole differently. But for the respect that I have for my father, I'm not going to do that. You see,
Hmm.
and I had to do what Ray's doing. I have to walk away and try to fight the battle another day and say, look, I can't deal with this. You see what I'm saying? And if that means if I have to remove myself from you, from the family, until things can get better, then that's what I'm going to do. Because if I put my hands on you, something bad is going to happen. You see what I'm saying? And it's not going to be good for either one of us. You know what I'm saying? Or the family. And just think about how this is tearing up the Mysterio family with his wife, and his daughter. This is tearing the family apart here.
I think the one thing that we forgot to mention, and I think you're almost there hitting it, is that as a father, you're looking at your kids growing up, and when they become men, they're no longer babies. You know what I mean? They're in another world. They're living their life.
Mm-hmm.
It's not saying that as a dad you're being forgotten.
Yeah.
It's just that, hey, you catered a lot. You got to cut that umbilical cord, right?
Yeah.
You got to cut sling low, let it be, and treat him as a man. You know, I understand my father's view because now I'm in that position that my son is an adult now and everything else. So maybe, and your question, what about Ray? Maybe Ray is still catering Dominic.
I think that may be a small part to it. I think he's protecting him a little too much to where he has to go out there and learn for himself. See, like when Edge told Ray, I know that's your son, but I got to do what I got to do. Now, I would feel like as a father, okay, look, I'm going to back my son up. Okay, I understand. And, you got to do what you got to do. But that, again, that's my son. But then I got to think my son is a man and he put himself in that position. And I hope that I was able to teach him that look, when you put yourself in a situation as you get older, you have to be able to take responsibility for your own actions. You see what I'm saying? And so if that means my son got to fight this man one-on-one, and my son, I have to suffer the pain of watching my son get beat up, then if that's the responsibility that he has to learn because of what he did, then let that be a lesson learned. It's be painful, but I think Ray's just protecting him too much. He has to, like you said, cut that umbilical cord. And if Edge had to whoop on him to learn that lesson, then so
let
be
it be.
So let it be. As long as nobody else interfered and it's one-on-one, we're good to go. And then I'll come back to my son. Look, son, you brought this upon yourself. Now you learned your lesson. I've had to deal with this. Now you're having to deal with this. But, maybe there was some teaching moments that Ray slacked off on with Dominic, like you said, babying him too much. And so maybe that caught up and Dominic just had enough of it. It could be a multiple of different things here.
Well, here's some of the experts that have said about a father-son relationship. And I like to get to hear 5 things that dads do that push their sons away. And 1, expect the son to be better. I'm guilty. I've done that before. You try to give them all that advice over and over again, and even though they make mistakes, it's okay to allow your son or whoever to make mistakes because eventually they're going to grow. 2, being overly critical. 3, living through the son's achievements.
Yeah.
Okay. Just because they won a prize here and there doesn't mean the expectation is always going to be winning that prize all the time. Sometimes there's always a slip up, but you're there to try to encourage. And it's speaking about trying to encourage, being empathetic does not happen. You know what I mean? Like you're not doing justice. You're not helping by being empathetic. And then lastly, unresolved pain and anger. It's a saying that you should never let the day go by without solving the problem. Because if you do, it only gets worse until you solve the issue. It's better to solve an issue now and then instead of then. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
On the other side, how to strengthen a father-son relationship is 1, setting a good example. It's okay to be you. All right. Spend time together. And when you say spend time together, it's not like hi and goodbye and just sit there and do nothing. Do something. Work as a hobby together, whether it's a project, whatever. Participate in the father-son activity. Do some volunteer stuff. At home, you got kids going to school. Be a part of your kids. Your kids' school activities, and then play with each other. Maybe it's not sports. It could be a chessboard or whatever it is. Something that will get the 2 of you together.
Yeah, real quick.
Mm-hmm.
with participating in a father-son activity, I take it a step further, and participate in what your son or even your daughter is interested in. If that's what they like, if that's what they're interested in, you may
Right.
not be interested in it yourself personally, but since it's their thing that they like to do, you have to find it in yourself to say, you know what, I have to let me give it a shot because that's what they like, and be involved in that. And again, going back to what you saying earlier, don't be critical about it. Oh, that's not you. I don't feel that you're better than that. No, let them figure that out for themselves. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
Absolutely. And
so
it's and we're guilty.
yeah.
We're guilty, but
Mm-hmm.
if you're able to self-reflect, you can make things better. All
Yeah.
right. And always when you communicate, have that attention. Stop what you're doing, meet face to face, and
Yeah.
have real conversations,
Yeah.
because that's the only way that your son will grow. And not only your son, but the father as well. Both people will grow together. And that's why you'll have that bond. All right. Moving on forward. Maybe that's something that maybe Ray and Dominic needs moving on forward. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And once again, hey, you're listening to the Hard Hitting Wrestling Show, sponsored by the CMG Central. We're not psychiatrists, we're not doctors and all, but we do live with experience. Okay. And the Ray and Dominic, I mean, out of all the storylines, that one stood out the most. But we're gonna continue seeking different storylines throughout uh, the show and everything else on the WWE and other platforms as well, because these are the important parts. The storylines are always mirroring of what's happening in real life, and of course, we're not just gonna go and jump into wrestling and beat each other up and everything else. But I mean, Hector, I mean, you're all the way in Texas, man. I can't drop kick you from here. But
Man, if you could do that, I'm going to allow you to drop kick me for the rest of the year. If you could do
uh,
that with one swift, phew.
all right, I got my daughter here trying to give me the cue, but it's all good. Hey, we'll be back next week, but stay tuned. And in case you missed our previous shows, by me subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Facebook. We're on all over in social media. We're doing clips and stuff on TikTok. So by all means, please give us a follow. And once again, thank you for listening to our show. We are back, ladies and gentlemen,
Yes, we are.
better than ever. And I can't wait, man. I can't wait for Crown Jewels
Crown
to kick
Jewel.
off.
Yes.
Man, 2 matches so far. All right. But one is predictable. You already know it's predictable. The someone needs to get that championship off of Roman Reigns. But who could it be?
Who?
Who? Nah, not Big E.
TikTok. The clock is on. He's on the clock, just like the NFL draft.
Hector, man, thank you, man. It's good to be back, man.
Yes,
I know I say that a lot, but we're back. But hey, stay tuned. CMG Central, go ahead and subscribe to that channel, because not only ourselves are on it with the NFL and college football, but there are other platforms you want to check out. And once again, thank you for your support. We're over 1,000 subscribers. We're trying to seek some more. So we're going to work hard to give you what you want. So on behalf of Heck Love and OV1 right here, thank you. Adios. Till next week.
Deuces.